of getting to know you a little bit in that moment. I myself had no idea. I had no idea of all the work you had been doing in Tibet and the East in searching for texts, saving them, printing them, publishing them, all to do with the Paltsak Tibetan Rare Texts Research Center, which you are the director of. So my first question would be to ask you if you could tell us a little more about what you were doing in Tibet and how it all started and how it went, what your experience was. He understands. He understands.
I know a few words of English.
Yeah. First of all, I'm very, very extremely happy to be here and now express myself very gratitude to this organization, Zanda, and particularly my very good friend Eric. Really, I can't express myself this broken English to talk to this feeling. But anyway, I really first thank you, this organization, very much. That's my first. Now this interview, I feel a little bit nervous. The reason is this interview, but interviewee is my teacher. I'm a very bad student. I can't say I'm a very good teacher student, but I feel a little bit nervous. It seems to me kind of pass this test or something. Then I'm very happy and also try my best, particularly in here. Very good lodgers in here. So maybe I say it's not so good, but the lodger interpret much better this. Then also I'm very happy. That's also encouraged me to talk more. This work actually since after finishing Cultural Revolution. After finishing Cultural Revolution, then Chinese this court tang desile da 수주 탐지 던조리 제약 수주 던조리 제약 레카 제가 수주 던조리 가리세기나
수주 탐지 얘기
말 수주 대 돈달라 케르박 수주 던조리 제가 되게 되는 게 제리 수주 던조리 가리세기리 수주 던조
implementation of the reform.
I see.
Yeah, that's names all new one.
This is communist propaganda
yes.
that I haven't been trained in.
Tendig kabla da ngarang tenida da that time I have quite a good opportunity. It doesn't mean I'm very competent at everything, but also regards the as I should be treated as a scholar. Then what you translate, I also forget them. Also, I should get kind of good treatment. good treat. Then give this that kind of in charge of this culture. Ta ringni nyam manyam kompre nyamba surchut jete ta tani sopso korla tani roram jeanda ta tani kor tamji lengenda sitebare tangone jena.
I was given responsibility for the restoration of culture and for sort of the re-education and rehabilitation.
Tindi je on di tangbo ngayang tani da ji karise korota ta yakap ke shena zonja pak techire zonja pak de la jire civil service
Shungsha.
civil servants yeah tindi je de je tu de la de du ngal tani de lengeng tone tani pecha ningba kana yona tani de pecha ningba tamji jig the tani the need the jig that dig the not tani the ngarang so tani editing sum the tani da the petun jage tani kor kilingen chinga ti yevre.
At the time I was given a government position, I was essentially a civil servant whose main responsibility was to seek out and gather together rare texts, and then taking those original rare texts to edit them and eventually to oversee their publication. So this was the work that I was doing as a civil servant during this time.
That time when I was in Chengdu, there is one bureau of Tande cigarette need pinning the dick les constiare, pinning the dick les con. Pinning the dick les con del carise.
It's the office for the, I guess, the preservation and the of older texts, ancient texts.
Tani jikte nga tegen ni tani da lekate ta te du ne vont tegen ta ngap chijel manro pardo a mancher tani de lekate te jere.
I continued that work until I first traveled abroad.
Te ting tangbo tani da ngala ta kara zambo tobare de jire ngai tamna. Ngoi tani da kara zambo tani jana Tokyo nari chijel Tokyo nari kaval Tokyo na rangi tani da rangi ringne leke jebagi tani da tusoji topsondi ngai de kara zambo re samgi yo.
I regard this opportunity to work as a civil servant in the preservation of Tibetan texts as my first turn of good fortune. Forget about going abroad or any of these other opportunities that have emerged in the meantime, is that work that I was able to do before I first went abroad on behalf of cultural preservation that I consider to be my first turn of good fortune.
That teacher didn't ta ringnig till the lake among the cherry that day, tangy tearing muzzle tini the tiso gotori, muzzle te. So I
would like to leave my life story at that. I have no idea whether you guys are even interested in hearing any more of it, but that's my life in brief. My work for the furthering and preservation of my culture.
That Chijel Tambo have said the Canary Sina, the Injilombal Lever. Injilombal Tani, Tambo, Injilombamari, Tambo Tani, the Fallace Labor. Cheridina, ta ne, that passport is the Lamik. Lamik teaching Botella, Tani, that Injilombal taken road by Yomare. The Inna Tani, the Ngala, teni da turk pema onja ke teni da karin chimbuchang teni chen teni da pema kara khona ba teni da tuchi chimbu gola tambo nga teni faransa tebach faransa la ta da tugina lochigina kandina God seizure de chigori te chimbu teni da top tebach teni da yoni nga tambo teni da faransa lebre.
The first Western country that I visited was England. No, excuse me, let me correct myself. The first country I visited was France, in fact, because according to the regulations of my passport, I was not able to travel directly from China to England. And so it was due to the great kindness of Tuku Pema Wangyal and Padmakara, excuse the mispronunciation, that I was able to travel to France. This second instance of good fortune.
Teni ti kaps teni da ni gegen teni da was the kondachik teni taron ndela teni Charles ta kon number ni de zori ta taron zemba yori de teni de kon number ni tangi gegen zodi.
Having arrived in France, then I met with my first teacher, Woolston, and my second teacher, Charles. The two of them were my first two teachers in learning the language.
Ta dedu teni da ngarange na ta dedu de tatanga ta dirjio mari dedu rikpa agoji yo bandachi zondin shira yo bandachi ta tingsa ta rikpa de ya zani mendu ta chi parche chuni se senjo tanguni tandi teni de chi ta garise gur danda jeya teni de danda jeson chi shemi hiende teni kem sabonde chason danda teni chigri de dedingi ta rikpa ta dukja de mare zonri de yangarab de paise imbayo teni chen teni inji chi yangare.
Looking back, I see that there's no comparison between my capacities then and my capacities now. Back then, I was moderately bright, but very diligent. Now, I'm not bright at all. My mental sharpness has declined, as is in the nature of things to do. So, my mental sharpness, my mental acuity has really declined. Nevertheless, so although my mental acuity is quite poor, my diligence is of the best type, of the highest order.
Rinpoche, can I ask you, before you left Tibet and you were working on the texts, were there any particular events that you remember? Any discoveries that you made that were particularly important? Were there any books in particular that you thought were especially important that you managed to save?
Ta dedin de jina mazit ni ta rignis abji de jiga ta jakab khanang ya ni de ngilenge yore ta te chembo de ni da disaster long jug de ni rignis abji genge ta sacha gasa gala ni 이게 다 빼샤 다 그런스 베자와 공자와 근데 요지리 마토스 저러다 용라게 즉 나랑 좀 통자와 건보시다래 대인디 네 당보 드니 마지드니 가르세 거고 드니다 빠트르 무치게 손데라 나 대바시라요 마지다 손 정말 대바메다 말이디 디나니 드니 빠트르 무치게 손마 나 대바시라요 대 당가랑더니다 닝마 임비 좀 생치가 말해 다 마시더니 릭니스 알지 흘라네 벽에 사찰라 칭년보시나 더니다 망수 주주를 돼 다 돈다라 간다시나 마시니까 기초 뉴르 첨부 직더니 대바래 대값 딱 로버딘 뉴르 첨부지 대비온디 미기 셈라 다 만도 빠직다 마가 빠직다 다 든린데 식다 다 용화도 마지 라우징게 레팅아 디디 다운 의미신 로 총아 제제 시다트니 득 셈부 양기다 말이데 있나다 콘서트 냠도 다 기득 냠용의 폐체래 다트네 지소용디 셈라 마가 다트니 샤라요아래 아 teni te jesu te rigne sarjeri ta te shem goba ta tendi kapsa ngarang la teni samlo jitane tangi hma teni ta chi rang tabag ndana rang teni ta chi lama tamba teni de chiwu tamba ngone tane sangji ngui ta somba teni mambo enjenyo teni chi pechana ta thare tozere tanyo 다 콘남바 그랬더니 금전이 지로선다 지 다 도지직 제비 퀴리티 난 늘 투용디 든디 그랬더니 지 공초 차본다마 든디가 마치베 요지티 캔디나 삼다 텔했더니 데 펜바 그랬더니 다 꼴라 캔디 갑삼니 넹문에 다니 더니 도 상로다 든디 제티 텔 데디 땅이 베차티초 라라지오 마리티 인나다 연 링보 마레비 깽게 다 망보식 울러라 도신 저기에
울라서
네
울라서
근데고
단지 울라스 지금
로라
롤 디시오레스
그래 스테니 다테케가 소마가 소레
Well, during the Cultural Revolution, during the disaster that was the Cultural Revolution, a great number of texts were destroyed, so that in its aftermath, the only texts that remained were those that had been hidden or concealed from the authorities. So texts were a very rare commodity at the time. Nevertheless, I had a very strong faith in Zenkar Rinpoche. That's not to say that I didn't have faith in all of the Buddhist teachings. I had faith in all of the Buddhist teachings, but I felt a special faith in the writings of Zenkar Rinpoche. Now, if we might step back a moment, prior to the Cultural Revolution, there was a period in time during which the Chinese government instituted what they called some democratic reforms. And following at that time I was still relatively young, and things were bad, but only got worse during the Cultural Revolution. Now, many people, because of my youth, perhaps, then I wouldn't say that I suffered terribly. Things were certainly difficult. But I basically shared the fortune, the circumstances of my people, which were in general quite difficult. So, after the democratic reforms and the Cultural Revolution, I went around and I had met several retreatants, some of whom one might have been able to see as Buddhas in person. And other lamas and so forth, but my impression of them was not very high. They often seemed to be quite angry. No? Oh, he's talking about himself. Oh, I'm sorry. So prior to meeting all of this. Yes, sir.
Yeah, maybe I can. I do my best, but certainly my expression is very wrong. But please note you are both not treated my this translator. Also treated my teacher. Corrected my this broken English. Okay, that is very good.
Yes.
Martin, that the monk but you go. Girona. Yeah, Girona. Tandang did it need the same la? Tanga Karizari. tani tani de chik semla chik sikpazayan rabo tani chik te chembari ta te le pembo chik de kari go samne rang la tani da ngene rang la semla taxe chege yare ngene shokchikni kontrol da yare te shokchikni ai ta chik ngarang ta chik ta chöpasina maso tani chik tenda chikre chöpan seni ba chik tobiwa mari te ta tenda chik indi ta rang semla toze chik lobjong da chik gogir ba ta kandi da chik na samne ne te ti tani da ta chik tela pembi chet yige na de inare ta pechana te ti lola toksin ron ro yo are ti te so samlo ta de te so ni kontrol de lamsang chik mara chik nen da chik tup maso dambo jina.
During that time, I felt angry and upset, and emotionally quite not very well. And before that, when I was young, I met many lamas who I very much considered as real Buddhas, and also I have studied some. And then when this thing happened, during the period that was difficult, there was not many texts I could get, but I had memorized a lot of them. So I had lots of things in my memory. And although I was upset and angry and all those emotions, I was also, aware, because I was, supposed to be a practitioner, not a very good one, but a practitioner. So I try to work on myself. And then when I was kind of reciting or thinking about those texts, using those texts on myself, I felt it didn't work that well.
Tani Pablo Rinpoche ge songa nani tongta parsim gewi tam. Tani 사슈 좀 템비던 밤에 철기 누가 라소바 다 대소 탐지 로라 시란로 돼야 돼 말이 다 아우진 로고 요리 다 대소 탐지 때랬더니 때니 다랑 그러나 때니 즉 삼로직 땅디 때 당문에 장에 때니 다 쪼디 랑기 준들 마트 빠트 당문에 레자 다 때인디들 다 당보 때니 다랑기 준들 제고구삼 때니 삼방알 차서 Tendi sampai chawada nyamda, tendi utup mutup jeba yinti, te rang tendi ta nyamlengi shukti jemba yinba te tang chik, te dugu tendi ta punjur te shuk chewa yoba tang ni, ta tendi lasa bagi jengi, ta tendi nda shik maa tosi jiro shira chong maa song, yinna rinpa vishinti kali rangi semla chik lodna tozi chawda banda chong, Tani semla namagi dungarite ta parse mebanda chicha ngama ina mendi ngal tandi ngindela tani nobaka keje manyon te kungal tani de chichi ta chi kunde pse nama mambo chi dondo kunde mambo chegindu samni tro shira langi yorwa tani de mete danda chi yore inna tani jima tani de chi bi jesu ta te antani da tropos de kagondo 신인 담바스한테 대가봐요 대 여기 와래 있나 드니다 다직 더지 강타르쳤나 드니다 시작 드니다 다르든지 마타 드니 제니 제용디들 드니 펜싱 내려야 돼요 다 아군다식 아구진다식 정근도 다 땡은에 나랑 다 펜 도반듯이 쓰나 다 드니데 지래
So then I had some of the Pablo Rinpoche's writings, like the good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end, and also Tampe Mitsaji Dugar, which is a kind of a poetic drama instruction. And I had more or less those on, in my memory. So therefore, when I looked at them, I kind of reflected on those, then I had a very clear understanding that actually first I have to work on my own mind and on my own emotions. And I can't say that I have been very successful in that, but I trained on that, and because that time it was the situation was very bad, and my practice was not so good, and that's why it couldn't totally kind of make a big difference immediately, but eventually, after lots of practices, and eventually, I felt that I felt much relieved from these emotions and strong anger and things like that, because when somebody does something to you, to whom somebody really criticizes you or alleges you of doing things which you have never done, and that you didn't do anything bad, but you are accused of doing things and things like that, then you really feel bad, and you feel that they are like your enemies, or and then later on, slowly, I felt much better, and I felt that all these emotions kind of subsided. I can't say that I could treat those people like my friends, or that. But then I didn't feel that much of like enmity, or so therefore it was much better for me to deal and communicate with them, and that I myself felt much better. So that was, I think, because of these texts written by Patrul Rinpoche.
Tani ki jengi tani ngi thomar Patrul Rinpoche ki songde tani dajima mangbochi arakde bayi. Te che di da Patrul Rinpoche ki song bodi druk jenshik ni thomar tani da Patrul Jen te jenpa te zongka tanga tsu puna zong yorwa zong yang tani da halam zongka druk nangni aramara tani da zongka re sani ngi ngoshin da yona teso sani tochiri yar tani jin zongka druk sani tani yarna mato tani de mangbochi top maso da ti kumbu tani jire te top sarvi jesu tani ngi lamsa te tu nanda ina yang tata namshingi che garisi gorogo che paratani da paratani tani de jabjawada to so tamsi danda namshin yakbo yamare te medu telatani te so tamsi de tani de ngaransu parjab tubju chedu tani ta leka chitop kansum da chiktani de chebai ta te ting dangbo tani da Patrul Rinpoche song de tani chenche.
So therefore, when it was more free and was possible and to collect, then the first thing I did was to collect the works of the Patrul Rinpoche. And I could collect 6 volumes of the works of the Patrul Rinpoche, and that was not without difficulties. There are from 6 different districts of Tibet. I had to go everywhere, and then some parts from each district. So therefore, with lots of hardship, we could get 6 volumes of this Patrul Rinpoche's works, and that was the first thing I published, or got it printed. And of course, that time we didn't have all the facilities of printing and publication as we have now. So with certain difficulties, that was the first collection that we published.
대체 팅마 당보 차를 니비자 빠르래 다때 ngone Patrul Rinpoche de ngone da khol nodan de tandi jinsa 팅마 당보 ditni de 대체 ditla ngeso para phya de je daron tni da mangbo go senkindo de ditl tni 팅마 nibal tni da 팅마 nibal ngamale ya byga tozi dagonre tandi tni da phine tni jeve yin dati da Patrul Rinpoche fong.
And then we published 200 copies of that collection. And it went very fast. Everybody wanted, and everybody wanted much more. So then we made a second edition. And the second edition was a little bit better than the first edition. So that's how we started the work with the works of the Patrul Rinpoche.
Yes.
I have the impression from what I've heard that in fact you succeeded in finding and saving a huge collection of books. And so I was wondering if you had do you have the impression that you managed to save everything, or do you think there are many things that have been lost forever?
That time I did something. That's also, but still I feel there are so many things we haven't found it.
Yes.
Certainly we need to take a big effort to collect it or find it, these things.
No, that's very good.
Okay. Then, after that, then also I collected, edited, then also published Njang Chinzi Wangbo Song. That's only 200 copies. After that, then Damnganze. Damnganze that time is also we get it from India. That's published one, and also we have original block print in Babang one. That's one is 10 volumes. That's also we as the same as this way published 200 copies. After that, then we feel, and also quite a lot of these people say, this Bonbo Ganjur is the most old one, and so this one nobody take care of this. That is our in Tibetan original some these religions. So maybe should be treated as urgently save and publish these things. Then certainly I also agree this one. Then we did Bambok Ganjur 200 tons, 200 these copies.
So in fact you have preserved the Bongo tradition.
Yeah. That is when I was in China. Then after leaving from China, then get to England. Then I first meet Jane Smith. That's also kind of very good opportunity, and also kind of maybe say good timbre or something. We meet in Tube. Met in first time, met in Tube. Then that's some probably what reason I also forget it. But anyway, maybe I read something maybe Tibetan. Then he thought I'm Tibetan. Then we also kind of very short chat. Then also he asked me, do you know this book? Then that time I said, yes, we did this. Then he asked me, what's your name? I said, my name is Tibetan Nima. But today they thought this Zenkar Rinpoche. Actually, I have no then there is no not my name, my prefer, I use Tibetan Nima. Why? That's also I talk a little bit. Even though now myself is no families, and also maybe these Dutch they go that's time that's type of also I'm not. But also I'm not keep this geisur thing junior mare in not the geisur gitani domba yago sontum king media nga mare tendi indi nga chami selming mijire yinne ya ngiti mingde nga matani da nge geisur gi kaps tabtan longri mawi ni ma se mingde teni nga la nang songwa yinza danda inna ya ngiti mingde le nga shata teni da gabodi te cheti tel ta kiku teni da longri mawi se ta ja ngogu tupten de ja ngama teni da nima teni jane tati ngarant chi chamin selmin chi rete inna nga tel teni da shata teni da muba teni chembo yobi kingi teni da ngi mingle teni da tupten nima se yu.
I think he talked in Tibetan, no?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
So when I met, I think that he talked in English. My name is Tibetan Nyima, and although, Zenkar Rinpoche, I don't, oh yes, I think that he already talked in Tibetan English, no?
He was just explaining how he introduced himself to Gene Smith, not as Alak Zenkar.
Yeah. That was not in English? That was in English.
So
I see. Okay, I met Gene Smith in the tube, and then I was reading something, a text in Tibetan. So he saw it, and he asked me, are you a Tibetan? And then I said yes. And then we started to chat, and then he asked, what this text, or that text, and then he says yes, and then he told him what he was doing. And he said, I'm Tibetan Nyima because, Zenkar Rinpoche, he doesn't have a white Zen also, but, he doesn't want to call himself, myself, Zenkar Rinpoche, because I have a reason why I want to call myself Tibetan Nyima. I have not received the Gelong vows. I just received the Getsul vows. And I don't consider myself as a very good Getsul also, and I am like in between monk and a lay, or neither a monk or neither a lay person. But when I received the Getsul vows, this name was given to me, Tupten Longrik Mawi Nyima. So I took out the Longrik Mawi out, and then Tupten and Nyima put together, and I kept that as my name because I have lots of attachment or lots of kind of feeling towards that name that my teacher gave it to me.
Rinpoche, time is passing very quickly. And I just wanted to raise one question, which I think might be interesting to people. In this conference, we've been talking a lot about translation, but also we've been talking about transmission, which is something very dear to our hearts. It's something that we are very concerned with, about how the Buddha Dharma may be transmitted to the West. And when you think of how the Dharma arrived from India to Tibet, it was thanks to the Dharma King and the Guru Rinpoche and Khenpo Bodhisattva, and the immense labors of the translators and everything. And eventually Tibet became the central land. So we, in a way, we are trying to imitate that. We would like the Dharma to come into our Western society, our Western world. Traditionally, they say that a country becomes a Buddhist country when the ordained Sangha are established there. Of course, there are ordained monks and nuns here, but it does seem that there is a long way to go before we can talk about Buddhism really being established here. In your travels and your meetings with Injis, What do you have some reflections on that? Do you have some advice? Do you notice anything particular that we should know about?
I want to sincero. That could be it. Tate ngone da dari tinita ndri tinita sonde tiang tinita erik konamba gadin la da darin de tinita sonde tola tinita loza chimbo kibi wambo tini nyamlenjen da te so naso pa chi mang de tinita nan zomyo ba te so gutni song tamchi rang tu te ba yongwa tiang konamba gadin tiang konamba tuji chi ji dal tini nga tindi chong di de nga sara gabo jong karir tin ta khong number tindi da inji mangbo chi song di nge mi shi ba mangbo do yang kashi da nge ji na ma ji gom yong ken tindi na yang do ji go ya ando tindi de de tang ni shi na da ji ni sir tam시 de ngir wi rang ne nga ma da tini 단다 그랬더니 더 뒤쳐야 안다게 말해 당 눈이 신나 다 덤베 특비 왕복 그랬더니 나만 송리 더니 강타르 신나 더니 닉마 제지디 럼바 진드직 다 단달했더니 럼바 진드 레든 조본 조보직 그랬더니 니가 뭐요리 닉 제지디 더니 다 닉마 nga요리 디나는 더니 뇨농비 닉마 더니 따위 닉마 따따 소 탐제티 너네 따따 리릭칼 더니다 닉 노고요 인디 더니 강타르시나 저당 더니다 나랑스 더니다 덤비 템바기 더니다 니세텔라 셴나요 다 딩상셴나 다 텔라제 땅 더니다 나가니요리 가시게 더니다 닉마시 고레다 금친친부송 대나오진체는 단다야 주비두 템바 자기요리 용라고 셴나 딩상 더니다 롱그 템바 더니다 두 근데 자기요리 다 강타르시나 단단히 다지마 딱점점비 발라 타링보야 마레라 딩상 사실 망부직라 파라 때되나 딱점점바게 니소리 망부 차대요리 너네 제나 템바드 다 내지직인 송나 뜨니다 학바르드 뜨니다 너바 죽숨 그 뜨니다 조가 너나 뜨니다 대직드 뜨니다 내나 상직 뜨니다 템바 내비 직 세색고를 따다 직다 다 강도야 뜬디기 뜨니다 직 너바 죽숨 그 조가 와서 봐 매나 다직 다디 템바티 그때니 따자양 때니 쳔부지 매반데 시지요리 다티 다리 선입시나 망부지기 켈레 말이 다티 학바르 때니 납소네 대다 발체 대케니 말이 생기도 다니 다티 마인 갱게때니 다 딩상 이게 인다다 소 탐지 망부직다 다니다 유리 나소빠가 토라 유르기요리 단다 다니다 나랑스 종선 친제는 뭐 책이 되는 거 특히 고라 되는 추지 봉부 제투지 동 민다네 대체디들 다 대담제 되는 인지께도 소 돌 주주 되니다 자리까지 레기요리 다 대소 탐제의 소식립시나 너네 롱기 템바데 다르지데 발시 다 인지르고 치리디나 템바 강양 마다르사겠네 당 알아서 남am tan코 다 여구이지티 즉다 유르지 차니 여그더니 사스그더니 여구이지다 추스기 여구이지 얼마나 저 추스기 여구이지디 다 teni the temba dharma dar chigle teni shake yor teni cheti teni ngama temba mesa chigle tanda teni temba tati ta teyang teni da chuchi ge yorwe njirjuge teni da karise golar go chik temle tso ta shra bo liyo the yo setting do.
So when I come here and this August gathering, because of the kindness of Eric and all others, that I see so many great translators, scholars, and practitioners. So I feel extremely happy and moved. And generally, and I'm very thankful for that. And generally speaking, it is said that we talk about the degeneration, and from Longchenpa's way of saying, which is, I think we can say, Nyingma system, this is now still the time of what we call as the practice time. But to general understanding from the Buddhist way of thinking, there's now that practice time is finished, and we have come to the this kind of lungi to study or study time. And but we can see very clearly the degeneration going on everywhere. We can see that kind of negative emotions or emotional degradation, and we can also see the view degeneration and things like that very clearly. Generally speaking, it is said that if you have a Vinaya, the whole Vinaya setup of three Yesum and the monks order, full monks order of three foundations or whatever you call it, then there is Buddhism established. And when it's not there, then Buddhism is not established. But that view, I think, many people would not agree to. But I think I forgot in the beginning is that everything, the time is always changing. Everything changes, and things always change. That's what the Buddha always said. And now that there's so many texts are being translated into these different languages, English language, for instance, under the guidance of Alak Zenkar Rinpoche, a translation of 84,000 Dharma teachings, that's Kanjur, is going on, and many other translation projects going on. And so therefore, it's when these kind of so many texts and and authentic kind of scriptures are there, then I think we should say that the Longitemba, I think I'll say Longitemba, you will understand, is existing or is preserved, and I feel like that.
And what about the Toki Temple? What about the Dharma of realization, Rinpoche?
Toki Temple.
Among the...
Ta yujire, karir dina ta migi kansak jutsu kansak teni lengi marwang nishina migi semla teni de kandi yu ngatsu kog marite yinna ta dripa nyamnin chinghe mombondwa teni lakbar ta kalsan teni da ngatsu teni da sanjing khandola kong namba teni song tola kong teni chi tikkola song mangbo chi na song ta ngoni nyamnin chinghe veade ngoni ragi minduk samne 다 kirtang kushin nge kong lozawe chenpo de tindigi teni nge zinjo shirayo. Yinna kasong kong songda taso chik jene teni da ngoma riba nyamne le chik jarne chik tindi chik jayong titila chik zinjo zamdo masi nge ngoni Tibet jesong. Da te teni da ta ngarang su dina me chik ni chik dari sangin songda teni duzo ga wangi mo mangbo yo marwa. Tindi indi teni di chik ni chik teni jayong di da tega nangshin teni da nyamne jenge 문도 참막은 통해야기 때문에 즉 냠린 쟁행 요절이 때 망치와다 더니 저대고 비비 남줄바 망보 요절이 된데 요절이 삼기도 때때 요절이 된데 여기서도 따뜻 소트니다 요절이 때 더니 학바르 듣는데 귀비 왕보 때서 잠시 귀비 왕보가 나라 귀바에 받점도 마세 더니다 냠린 쟁행 요리 양 가시데 남바가 통이 냠린 직 그 마인비 추때 더니 양 직지대 군나르고 직 따따따 아카데미 되긴 누가 뛴디 됐더니다 너르나 더니다 밴드다기 더니다 자티 라쏘드 텐텐디다 직 네처리얼 따텐디 인디들 강사가 주츠 강사가 랭가 마링이 때 요아레 메리시 시기 menduktida 텐텐 요지리 다 비비남줄 망보 요지리 대 약보 요사레 더니다 기반 더니 단당이 망본 제소 텐디 인디다 따팅은에 시다 약보링에 땡기요.
They must be there. Although it's very difficult for one person to judge another person's level of attainment or realization, here we are gathered lots of scholars and practitioners, and I couldn't understand everything you said, but I understood some things, and I was very moved, and I think there are lots of people like Sanjay Kanto, for instance, when she was discussing and talking about things, I already had lots of respect for her as a great translator. But when she explained things from her experience in these panel discussions, I could see how much, highly a practitioner she is, and how much understanding she has. So, on top of that, respect as a great translator, now I developed depa for her, devotion for her, and there are many like that, I'm sure. And here it's just a small group. There are lots of others out of this gathering who must be, practicing, and there must be great yogis and yoginis, and hidden yogis and hidden yoginis. There are people who are, academicians and also practicing. There must be lots of practitioners there, but there are also others who kind of show the, who has the appearance of being academicians, but also maybe, Dharma inside there. So we cannot say exactly who is who. No, it's the same thing. They show the form of a pandita, but maybe they have also realization. And so therefore, I can't say exactly, but I'm sure there are lots of them. And so therefore there must be the realization also.
So Rinpoche, we have already gone past the time, so we have to conclude here. But as we can all see that you are a great protector of the doctrine and of beings, and so I would like to say on behalf of everyone that we pray very sincerely for your long life and your good health, and to request you to come back again and again to help us.
직직니직일 하고 이제 저러지? 드니 나들랬더니다 나마더니다 아메리카를 드니다 영화 디값이 있나 드니 땅아 드니 콜롬비안 드니다 농업 시대래 드니 디값이 드니다 나마가 농업 숨다 또 탐질라 있나 드니다 안드레아다 아직 콘나바기 드니다 나가 거린 침부 짱버리 나 게르기 통도시나 네 콘나발 거린 지주그리 다 끼기 통도시는 낭지 간니 침부도 끼기 내던지 끼기 내던 가리를 되나 다 디값이 드니 닌달라 드니다 다지 페프튼지야 네 당보 드니다 페프튼지야 돼서 탐지 단디 레폰에 드니다 페샤 망보직 대디 톱송 디난 그 배샤티 당보 때니도 터바디 까답기 송다는 망보 톱스 다티 ngay temre shiraya bujikti son tindi deg teni ngay kadam chodigda ta tindi laso bata mangbo jare teni ta mibu khirja de jene ta tindi khorang teni da karite gor pardab jan teni da pek teni da pezu yare teni da chik tebzu yare mangbo yare tesu tamje de ngama teni de jebi kaps teni ya erik de khona ba nyamde ngarang nyamle jene khona ba ngatsol teni kolmonang teni ngaransil consult teni yang parang teni saringapchu pui teni jer ta jima yang nesel mongbo chigodu ta ti tandate jun tutup yo marite inna ta tisu tamji yongate yang khona ba ketin tin di khona ba shra tuji chejuji.
Just want to move words, and that is that when I first came here, I stayed 4 years in Colombia. Is it Colombia? And that time, I was personally treated with great kindness by Andrea, but that's personal. And for the kind of general well-being, then at that time, I had I had found lots of great texts, many texts from Drepung, and there, as a very good Tendil, we found the whole collection of Kadam teachings, and many others. So, we published them, and they gave the money, and then we published them, and 50 copies were given to them, and that couldn't continue due to many different reasons, but lots of good work, many good things happen. So I would like to really very much thank, especially for all those things, and that's all I want to say.
Tani indeed tanda chenambagi yang tani dangal tani cheringwa da tani da daro in the tani ngasutu atishig tangi noala da cheringwa ti shochigni yagondo da chochigni tani da leka kaya che matuba da tani chigi tani da tana rangun soya tiang rangi tani da rangu matame mele tengu bechig tani chigi chig cheringna da nganda chigi nang atandil chirar gaborangmendo 당이 세대 다 메세링 통다 다 칸타르세나 아키 추제르기직 조요제레티다 디 세텔 메세티기 세텔 레카토즈 레트바치 텐디직 용하기더니 나랑긴 거니시는 디레요 텐니 인들랍 중켄 탐체테나 대가라 텐니다 그세 랭주 그캄 상주 텐니다 레던 탐제 강메신 윤두지 군데주기.
So you prayed for my long life. It's very nice to live long. It's good to live long. But I personally think that, if you cannot do anything positive, just living long, maybe not so useful. I feel that while I'm alive, I should be able to do something that's worthwhile and beneficial. That's my way of understanding and thinking. So I would like to pray that all of you live very long and healthy, and then you may be able to accomplish everything that you want to accomplish, and that's my prayer for you.
Thank you, Richard.
마지트니 원이시는 게 게겐들이 때니 다 콘나바 ngalat니 송주르다 tani nawaatela tani katin semebe chedi ni juye